Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Unleash English. I have been extremely regular with my videos and there are two reasons of course. Firstly, I was very busy with schools reopening and all that, and secondly, কেউ দেখছে না. So I said that দুধ কোনো দরকার নেই দেবার. Nobody is watching, so no need. But then out of a sudden, I get comments, especially from one of my subscribers, Arvind, and he says such kind words to me, and I'm like, okay, একজনও যদি দেখে, then even that is a reason good enough for me to continue with the classes. But my sincere request to everyone is, প্লিজ একটু দেখো ভিডিওগুলো, একটু চ্যানেলটাকে সাবস্ক্রাইব করো, একটু শেয়ার করে দাও, লাইক করে দাও. Otherwise, there's no reason, so please একটু like and একটু share, একটু subscribe, একটা comment, please. So আজকের ক্লাসে we're gonna talk about Shakespearean sonnets, and we're gonna focus on sonnet 18 by Shakespeare, which is also known as Shall I Compare Thee to a Summer's Day. Now, primarily we know Shakespeare for his four great tragedies, which is Macbeth, Othello, King Lear, and Hamlet. যে ইংলিশ লিটারেচার নিয়ে পড়াশোনা করে না তাকেও যদি তুমি জিজ্ঞেস করো, এই চারটে প্লেয়ের কথা সবাই জানে. সো অফকোর্স এগুলো তো জানা কথা, বাট not a lot of people know that Shakespeare was an awesome sonneteer. And Shall I Compare Thee to a Summer's Day is one of his very famous sonnets. And this is the sonnet in which we see a young poet. And of course, when we are young, আমাদের মধ্যে confidence প্রচণ্ড বেশি, আমরা মনে করি ও সব পেরিয়ে যাব. So same type of confidence can be seen in the speaker's tone here as well. Now, throughout the Shakespearean sonnets, he is trying to find a way to achieve immortality. Immortality by eternity, বোধহয় সমস্ত ক্রিয়েটিভ জিনিয়াসদেরই একটা বোধহয় পাওয়ার একটা খুব আশা থাকে. রবীন্দ্রনাথ ঠাকুরের কবিতাতেও আমরা দেখেছি, উনি বলেছেন আজই হতে শতবর্ষ পরে. That means he also is thinking that there will be someone who's gonna read his poem 100 years from now. So this craving for immortality, the craving that the genius will not fade with time, and there will be some way of preserving and youth, beauty, talent, genius, and defeating death or time, has been the desire for creative genius over the years, and Shakespeare is no exception. He begins the sonnet, and as I said, the entire sonnet is showing his desire to achieve this immortality, this eternity, a means to survive the ravages of time, a means to survive the acid attack of time and death. So he begins the poem by asking a question: Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thee in Shakespearean or archaic English means you. So বলছে আমি কি তোমাকে একটা সামার্স ডের সঙ্গে তুলনা করতে পারি? Throughout the poem, he is trying to find a befitting metaphor to compare his beloved's beauty and youth to. গোটা কবিতাটা ধরে একটা তুলনা খোঁজবার চেষ্টা করছে beloved বা ফ্রেন্ডের বিউটিটার জন্য, but he is unable to get one, at least in the very first few sentences. And he says, Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? The poem is written in the absolutely Platonic style. And as in the Platonic style, the lady love is never, or the beloved, is never given a chance to speak for herself or to express her thought. The same thing is maintained here as well. ওই কবি নিজেই প্রশ্ন করছে, নিজেই উত্তর দিচ্ছে, মেয়েটাকে বলতে দিচ্ছে না, মেয়েটা বা ছেলে যাই হোক না কেন, বিলাভেডকে বলতে দিচ্ছে না. So he says, thou art more lovely and more temperate. না, আমি এই কম্প্যারিজনটা করবো না, and the reason for not proceeding with the comparison is because you are better than a summer's day. And then in the following section, he is counting the imperfections of a summer's day. So he is giving us the reason as to why the summer's day is not good enough for his beloved. And he is saying, rough winds do shake the darling buds of May. So on a summer's day, there can be very rough winds that can shake the buds, the darling buds of May. Now, summer's day in Shakespearean world had an extremely significant role to play. After the long winter, and this was a winter when there was no artificial heating system, the medical science wasn't as developed as it is today. So a pneumonia or a bronchitis could be severe enough to kill a person. And winter was synonymous with death. Little kids and the elderly people couldn't survive the winter many a times, and almost every alternate house had a death due to the winter. So winter মানে কিন্তু ভয় আতঙ্ক কি জানি কি হয় এরকম একটা feeling, whereas summer is the promise for new life. Summer is the promise for everything that is beautiful, that is temperate, that is good. And Shakespeare saying that no, you are better than a summer's day is definitely a magnanimous sort of an feat, because summer's day থেকে ভালো কি হতে পারে রে বাবা তো and he's giving his reason, his logic as to why he doesn't wants to compare his beloved to the summer's day. And he says summer's day has a lot of imperfections, but you don't. The first imperfection is the rough wind. The second one is summer's lease hath all too short a date. That is, summer is very temporal. It is not forever or eternal. It is very short-lived. He doesn't want something as temporal as that. He wants something that is a little more long-lasting. Durable to hota hobe na, noile ki kore cholbe. Sometimes too hot the eye of heaven shine. So eye of heaven is a periphrasis, is a roundabout way of referring to the sun. So বলছে কখনো কখনো ভীষণ সূর্যটা তাপ দিচ্ছে মানে ভীষণ গরম ভীষণ রোদ্দুর uncomfortable, and often his gold complexion dimmed. And sometimes, of course, the sun is being covered by the clouds and it is completely dimmed. So there is no permanence or predictability as far as the summer's day is concerned. Sometimes it can be too hot, sometimes it can be absolutely cloudy, sometimes it can be windy, it is so short-lived. So it's not a befitting comparison for you, my beloved. And every fair from fair sometimes decline by chance or nature's changing course untrimmed. So he says everything that is beautiful in this world will be changed, will be altered. That is the cycle of life. People become young, they attain their youthful beauty. Slowly they become old and they lose that beauty, and then they proceed towards death, which is the final statement. Now, Shakespeare therefore resists to find a comparison, a metaphor for his beloved's beauty in any object of nature, because the objects of nature are completely ruled by time, death, and everyone that is born has to go through the same process. Nobody is an exemption, not even a summer's day. And therefore, Shakespeare doesn't want to find any comparison for his beloved in any object of nature. কোনো ন্যাচারাল অবজেক্টের মধ্যেও কম্প্যারিজনে যেতেই চাইছে না, কারণ নেচারে তো সব কিছুই ওই এক মূল ধারায় আবদ্ধ, তাদেরকে তো সবাইকে সেই নিয়মটা মেনে চলতে হবে। বাট শেক্সপিয়ার তো ওরকম চাইছে না। শেক্সপিয়ার তো চাইছে যে একটা পারমানেন্স আসুক, একটা উপায় বার করা যায় যার ফলে এই ডেথ আর টাইমকে ডিফিট করতে পারা যায়। And then the narcissism and the arrogance of the poet speaker is evident in the next few lines. So here the poet speaker is sort of not just confident but overconfident of his abilities, and he gives us 3 epigrams, 3 paradoxes. What are those? But thy eternal summer shall not fade. Tomar eternal summer, that is your youth, কোনোদিনও ফেড হবে না। That's an epigram, that's a paradox, because on the surface, we as readers, we think, how is that even possible? Everybody that is born has to die one day. How will the eternal summer not fade? And then he goes on climactically to the next epigram when he says, nor shall death brag, thou wanderest in his shade. No, sorry, before that, nor lose possession of that fair thou owest. So the fair, the beauty that you owe, that you have, that you possess, you will never lose it. Again, that is also another epigram, another paradox. How is that even possible? How will I remain young and beautiful forever? And the last epigram that is here is also probably the the most shocking one when he says, nor shall death brag, thou wanderest in his shade. That is, you will never die. How is that even possible? আমাদের বাংলায় কথাই আছে জন্মিলে মরিতে হবে, তাহলে কি করে মরবে না, এটা কি করে সম্ভব? So of course that's an epigram. And then he says, of course, as I said, that the narcissism, the overconfidence of the poet is evident here when he says, when in eternal lines টু টাইম দাও গ্রোয়েস্ট। তাহলে আমি যে কবিতাটা লিখছি এটা ইটার্নাল, এটা কখনো হারিয়ে যাবে না, এবং এটাকে যখনই কেউ পড়বে সে তোমাকে তার নিজের মতো করে আবার খুঁজে পাবে। সো মাই poem will remain forever. It cannot be destroyed by time or death. And I'm going to describe you in my poem and thereby freeze your beauty and eternalize you forever. So he is absolutely confident that his poem will not be lost. His genius will be forever and ever studied, and thereby he will attain eternity for his beloved. And then he says the famous Shakespearean couplet. Couplet মানে দুটো লাইন, লাস্টের দুটো লাইন. So long as man can breathe or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee. যতদিন পর্যন্ত মানুষ বেঁচে থাকবে, মানুষ আমার কবিতা পড়বে এবং এই কবিতার মাধ্যমে তোমাকে বারে বারে খুঁজে পাবে। As long as men are there on earth, they will read my poem, and in my poem I have described your beauty, and thereby they will discover you, they will think about you and create your persona in their imagination forever and ever. As a result, you will not be forgotten. You'll never become archaic or obsolete. You'll forever remain fresh and beautiful and youthful, because my poem will remain beautiful and youthful and eternalized forever and ever. So here Shakespeare finds an answer to the question, how can I defeat time and death? Through art, through poetry. So by writing this poem, he is bestowing eternity upon his beloved and thereby finding a way of making his craft and his genius eternal as well. Now, Shakespearean sonnets have a lot of metaphorical significance, a lot of underlined meanings, which is not possible to do in one single video. A sonnet 18 are arecta sonnet, which is that time of year thou mayst in me behold. We will compare and contrast both these sonnets in the following videos. Please stay with the channel. Once again, if you can support so many YouTubers, you might as well share and subscribe and support my channel. একটু দেখো, একটু শেয়ার করো, একটু লাইক করো, তাহলে ভীষণ ভালো হয়, ভীষণ এনকারেজড হই আমি। ওকে, চলো বাই। আর সবাইকে, এই দেখো আমার বাড়ি সাজানো হয়ে গেছে অলরেডি উইথ ক্রিসমাস ডেকোরেশনস। সবাইকে আগাম জানিয়ে রাখি, মেরি ক্রিসমাস, হ্যাপি নিউ ইয়ার, ভীষণ ভালো কাটুক এই বছরটা। ওকে, চলো রাখছি।